Hello, I'm Lisa Cybaniak from lifelikeyoumeanit.com, and I'm talking to you today about the self-love habits that I formed, and so can you, in order to change your life. Okay, so the first thing that I did in order to start loving myself so that I could change my life was to start to realize the importance of self-awareness. That is the awareness of my thoughts, right? Of all of my different beliefs that are running my show, who I've surrounded myself with, and all the different people in my life, and how I was perceiving my world around me, starting to really kind of come outside of myself and sit in a corner of a room and watch myself all day long, watch how I interact with people, watch what goes on in my head when somebody says something that I don't like or that I don't agree with or that hurts me in some sort of way, right? And start looking at it from a very different perspective. And that really, really raised my awareness to what my world that I had created myself really looked like, and gave me a really great insight into the big changes and even some of the little ones that I wanted to make. So as I began to raise my awareness about myself, I started to realize that I really was comparing myself a lot to other people. And I was doing it both with people that I thought were better than me. So when they would have success, I would compare myself and make myself feel like I wasn't good enough. But then if somebody was not doing as good as me, I actually had the same ability to turn around and somehow put myself down for that. And sometimes I would even notice that if I picked myself up because of somebody else not being able to do as well, it was my way of trying to make myself feel better by judging myself against them. And both scenarios was not something that I wanted to continue in my life. So I vowed right then and there to stop comparing myself to everyone else. Now, one of the ways that I did this with stop comparing to other people is I started to realize that I wasn't being very sincere with myself. So I started looking at how I responded to my good friends, for example, the people in my life that I really loved. And if they came to me with a similar problem, I definitely was not judging them or comparing them in any way. I wasn't being hard on them like I was being on myself. So I started to realize that I needed to practice the same sort of empathy and love that I would give to somebody else that I cared about. Now, at the same time, I started to realize the third big love myself step that I needed to take in order to change my life, and that was to get rid of the toxic people in my life. This was a really difficult one. I get it. I understand. I've gotten rid of a lot of toxic people over the years. And over those same years, I've also developed a little bit of a spidey sense, if you will, for these toxic people. I can see them coming a mile away now because my perspective on my own world and on myself has changed. I love myself now. I vibrate at a different level now. And I can see and feel the vibrations of other people. And when somebody is coming into my space that's not vibrating at that same level, and is looking to try to raise their vibration by trying to take some of mine, then they've got to go. And it doesn't mean that they're a bad person. People do this type of stuff all the time because they don't understand the energy that's all around them. They don't understand the energy that is flowing through them and that they have access to this energy. They don't understand that by seeing you vibrating in a higher place, and they are envious of that and they want to have that as well, they don't realize that that is something that they can do for themselves. And instead, they feel like they need to take it. They need to take it from you. And so those are the types of toxic people that I'm talking about, right? Just because they're not aware of what they're doing doesn't mean we should cut them any slack, because at the end of the day, it's our energy that's being affected. So getting rid of toxic people is a real key for being able to love yourself and build habits that change your life. And I get it. Some of these toxic people are family members or people who have been in our lives for years. And it is difficult to say goodbye. But when you lovingly open that door, you give space and room for somebody else to be able to come in. And that's exactly what you're looking for. The next really big habit that I needed to cultivate in order to be able to really change my life was to look at things differently, to try to start to see the positive in things. Now, I know that that's all over the internet because it's such a big fad right now. And I know that for people that are having a really, really hard time, it is very difficult for you to just look on the bright side. But I'm not talking about just looking on the bright side. If you go and check out my videos, you'll see what I'm talking about, that this is a really big part of my life and the way that I help other people in my business. So go ahead and subscribe to my channel and click on that gray icon of the bell to make sure that you never miss another video. But in the meantime, just have an idea that thinking positively doesn't mean that you don't allow yourself to see anything that's negative or feel any type of negative emotion. It means that you realize that this too shall pass, that every time that there is a problem, it gives us an opportunity to find a solution. And so if we are able to just adapt the way that we think, then when we are confronted with something that is not necessarily that fabulous, so AKA negative, we know that we are going to be able to transcend this. We have with everything else that has happened in our lives up until now. So there's nothing different about this except for our belief in ourselves, in our ability to actually do this. That is what positive thinking means to me. Now, if you really know that you are a negative thinker and you know that you're going to struggle with this part, there are lots of different things that can help you with this. Positive affirmations are one of them. Right? I've got positive affirmations on my computer screens so that every time I am on my device, it's got a lovely positive affirmation that I've created and I've put on there, which is lovely. And oftentimes they do really act as a beautiful way to remind myself to just stop and take a breath and be in this present moment. Now, meditation is also a really wonderful way to start changing your mindset and looking at things more positively and starting to increase your belief in yourself and of a higher power that always has your back. This brings me into our last stage here of self-love habits that can really change your life, and that is self-care. This is what I call my Zen den. It is the space where I do a lot of my videos. It's where I meditate every single day. It's where I give my Reiki distance healing sessions, is right here in this chair with this beautiful painting and my beautiful Buddha head and my lovely little netting that cocoons me, wraps all around me, and just makes me feel like I am centered and grounded at all times. Now, self-care for me is not just about meditating. It's really about following whatever pops up in my mind. And I'm a big advocate of that. That if you're sitting there working away and, your mind is in a million places and all of a sudden you start thinking about a glorious bubble bath, as superficial as that might sound, and as much as you want to push that off to the side because you're really busy right at this moment, that's your unconscious mind telling you what it needs. And so if you don't follow through with that, then you're sending a really big message to your unconscious mind that you don't deserve that time, that you don't deserve what it needs to relax, to regroup, whatever it is that you were looking to accomplish by that bubble bath. So as simple as it is, you can make a really powerful impact on your ability to love yourself and change your entire life just by listening to that little voice that pops up, that image that you get, or that feeling, oh, I wish I was surrounded by hot water right now, whatever it is, and actually making the time and then taking that time. So if that means that you've got to schedule it in your calendar, even if that means that it's not going to happen this day, but it's going to happen tomorrow, that's fine. Your unconscious will see the effort that you are putting forth in order to meet that need. And that sends a very powerful message to yourself about what you deserve. So listen, if you wanted to check out meditation for years and years and years and you never have, now's the time. If you want to just simply get outside and go for a walk on your lunch break, go outside, take a walk on your lunch break. Or if you want to have that bubble bath, if you want to start your day by journaling, if you want to, it doesn't matter what it is. People often think that they have to spend a lot of time and a lot of money on self-care, and that's not true. We're literally talking about listening to what you are telling yourself your needs are and then fulfilling them. I hope this video inspires you to make some small but crucial changes in your life in order to love yourself and change your life. Bless.